For the first time in history, a major war is being waged in a country with multiple nuclear reactors and thousands of tons of highly radioactive spent fuel. Ukraine operates 15 nuclear power units, including 6 of them at the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. None of the Ukrainian nuclear power plants, as well as any other nuclear power plants in the world, are designed to withstand an act of war. And radioactive emissions from a missile hit in an operating nuclear power plant can exceed those from Chernobyl and Fukushima. In a worst-case scenario, the reactor can be destroyed as well as the cooling system. In this case, the radioactivity from both the reactor and the cooling pool can escape into the atmosphere. It could make a large part of the European continent uninhabitable for at least many decades and for a distance of hundreds and hundreds of kilometers. In the early days of Russian war against Ukraine, the occupation forces have captured the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. On the 4th of March, the entire Europe was put on the brink of a nuclear disaster when the Russian troops began shelling the largest nuclear power plant in Europe, Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, equal to 6 Chernobyl. Fortunately, the Ukrainian firefighters have managed to put the fire out. The power station was seized by Russia. The situation remains very fragile. This is an act of nuclear terrorism. Russia is using Chernobyl exclusion zone to place their weapons so that Ukraine could not strike back. The presence of weapons is already a great risk for the radioactive situation at the station. We call on Europe and the entire civilized world not to remain silent about Russia's nuclear terrorism. The best Russia can do now is to take their soldiers out of Chernobyl and Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plants and let the personnel to service them. Because right now it is unclear what exactly is happening at those 2 nuclear power plants, and if all causes of the possible disruptions of the proper operation of these nuclear power plants are being fixed immediately to prevent any radioactive emissions. We're also asking the NATO members to establish an effective no-fly zone over Ukraine, not only to save the lives of our citizens, but to significantly reduce any risk of enemy missile hitting of Ukrainian nuclear power plants.